Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some makeup products that I am keeping my eye on, things that I really want to buy, but I'm really trying to be a lot smarter about the way that I spend my money on makeup these days. So all of these products, like, I don't need them, but I just really want them. So I'm actually trying to talk myself out of buying these makeup products. So I really hope that y'all don't think that this video is boring, but the reason I decided to do this is because in my last two videos I talked about my first project pan. So I decided to do a project pan so that I can start using up a lot of the stuff that I've already spent my money on, instead of constantly buying stuff every time it comes out. So that's kind of what I feel like doing with a lot of the stuff on this list. So I feel like this is going to help at least me to prevent me from just spending unnecessary money on makeup. And I know, I guess it depends on how you look at it. The way that I look at it, all makeup is unnecessary for me. But I, buy it because I like playing around with it and learning about it. I feel like I've developed a habit of just buying stuff as soon as it comes out because I see everybody else wearing it or using it and they love it so much and I just want to experience it too. So I'm just trying to really sit back and see, do I really need to buy this? Should I buy it? Should I wait? So I feel like I'm just rambling, but I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to do in this video. So if this is your first time here, my name is Sonia. I go by Sister Philly. Welcome to my channel. I really hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave today. I would really appreciate it, and it would really help me out. And of course, for those of you who are already subscribed and you're already supporting my channel, thank y'all for your continued support. I think, is this my first video of 2019? I think this is my second video of 2019, but regardless, Happy New Year. I do try to get out at least 2 videos a week on my channel. I haven't been able to do that over the past 3 weeks or so. Unfortunately, my family hasn't had a really good start to 2019, so my time is kind of limited these days. So I'm just to the point where I'm just filming and editing whenever I can find the time, and I just don't have a whole lot of time. So just keep that in mind. If you're already subscribed or you do decide to subscribe today, my uploads may be a little sporadic over the next few weeks. So I just hope that you would bear with me on that. Okay, let's get started with my list. Okay, I'm going to start off with the 2 products that I'm having a really hard time talking myself out of buying. When I do videos like this where I'm just talking about makeup, I do like to go in the order that I would apply them. But for the most part, I'm still going to be doing that because these first 2 products, they happen to be complexion products. So the first one is the new Fenty concealer that everybody is talking about. So when I first found out that Fenty was coming out with concealers, just like everybody else, I was just so excited, so happy, couldn't wait for them to drop. Now that they are out, so I'm filming this the day after that concealer released. Now that they are out, I haven't purchased them yet. I really don't like going to the store. I'm a very heavy online shopper, so I wasn't planning on going to Sephora to get the concealer. I was just going to purchase it online. And I just knew, when they first announced the launch date, I just knew that I was going to buy it online the day that it launched. So here we are the day after, and I haven't purchased it yet. So I really want this concealer, but my favorite everyday concealer is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use concealer, and this is the bottle that I'm working on now. I do still have a little bit of product in here, but it's wearing down, and then I just bought a brand new one knowing that I was running out of this one. So it's going to take me a long time to use this concealer up. So what I'm trying to do with my makeup collection, but especially my complexion products, I'm trying not to have way too many products that I know that I'm not going to use. So I feel like when it comes to foundation, concealer, maybe even setting powder, even if you're the type of person who likes to have a whole lot of options, in my mind, I feel really how many options can you really have with those types of products? So when we're talking about the concealer, you can have different finishes. You can have matte, you can have natural, you can have dewy. And you definitely want something that's going to complement your skin tone and your undertone. But I think it's a little different from like take an eyeshadow palette, for instance, where you can choose from like a whole bunch of different colors. You can choose from shimmers or glitters or mattes. I feel like complexion products, I mean, if you like take me for instance, I have oily skin. So I prefer foundations that either are natural or matte. And then for my concealer, I usually use concealer to highlight the center of my face. I never use concealer to spot conceal. So I feel like I'm always going to want like a natural finish concealer under my eye. I don't really care for mattifying foundation or concealers right here. So I just feel like as long as I can find a shade that works for me and complements my skin tone, I mean, it's just not necessary for me to have like a handful to choose from, but that's just my preference. So I know some people are foundation and concealer junkies. I'm just not one of those people. Now, getting back to the Fenty concealer, the reason I want to try it is because I love the foundation. It's one of my favorites. And I figured I was just going to like the concealer too. Now, I kind of stepped back from it a little bit when I found out that it's going to have a soft matte finish to it. Because like I said, I prefer things that have a natural finish in this area. But all of the videos that I've watched so far, everyone keeps saying that it's a super, super creamy concealer and it's not really all that drying. And people keep comparing it to NARS Radiant Creamy. And before I started using Too Faced, this was my everyday concealer. This one does have like a soft matte finish too, but it's not drying. And I feel like the color of it is just perfect. So this is the color Chestnut. And I know everybody has like yellow and golden undertones, but I have a pink undertone. So this one, it matches me perfectly. I'm not even wearing this today, so I don't know why I'm doing this. But this one has like a very prominent like pink undertone. And it's a little lighter than my skin tone. So it fits really well for me to highlight with. What I love about the Fenty concealer launch, and I don't know why it's taken so long for somebody to think about this, but I love the fact that there is a concealer shade for every single foundation shade, because I don't understand why you would come out with, say, 20 foundations and then maybe only like 6 or 8 concealers. That I never understood that. So I love the fact that no matter what your shade is in Fenty, and they have 50 shades now. They started out with 40, now they have 50. So out of all those 50 shades, no matter what your shade is, you have a complementary concealer shade. I do think it was a little confusing though at first, because I think the word that Rihanna used in her video was a corresponding concealer shade. So I was thinking if I'm the shade 340 in the foundation, I'm going to be 340 in the concealer, which is the case, but I thought the concealer was supposed to be the same exact color as the foundation shade, so you would use it as kind of like a spot concealer. And I'm thinking that's still easy to follow, because if I want a highlighting concealer, all I have to do is go 1 or 2 shades up with the same undertone. So I thought it was still going to be kind of easy to follow. But I think the way that they did it is even better. So when she said corresponding concealer shade, I'm the shade 340. So 340 and the concealer is going to be like a little bit brighter, a little bit more of a highlighting effect on your under eye, taking into consideration that that's how most people use a concealer. So I thought that that was just genius, and I don't know why someone just thought of that just now. Now, the only thing about the name though, is it called Pro Filt'r Concealer? Yeah, it's called the Pro Filt'r Concealer. I feel like maybe if it was called like the Pro Filt'r maybe brightening concealer, or maybe highlighting concealer, I think that that would have made it a little easier. And maybe it was only me that had that problem, but like I said, I thought that the concealer shade was going to be the same exact shade as the foundation, but it is basically like a brightening or highlighting concealer for your foundation shade. So, but I mean, I just thought that the whole launch was just genius, and I haven't tried the product out myself, but based on all of the videos that I watch, I do think that I would really like it. But I really don't need it. I don't need it, and it's going to take me forever to go through this. So I feel like I really should wait until I finish this, because let's face it, when I go through this, the concealer is still going to be out in the stores, still going to be available. But I don't know, maybe it's like the fear of missing out. I just feel like I really don't want to wait that long. I want to buy it now. But like I said, I don't need it. Let me know in the comments if you have tried that concealer. Do you think it's worth like splurging on? Do you think I should try it? Do you think I should just hold off and go with my Too Faced concealer? That concealer, the Fenty concealer, does retail for $26, and I think you get a little over 0.2 ounces of product. With the NARS concealer, you get 0.22 ounces of product. I could be wrong, but I think Fenty is 0.23. So it is kind of like pretty much the same amount of product. This one costs $30. The Fenty concealer costs $26. Now I will say that Too Faced does have me spoiled with this concealer, because you get 0.5 ounces. That's half an ounce of concealer, and this one costs either $26 or $29, but it's well worth it because you get so much product. So they do have me spoiled with this, but I do think, based on what I'm seeing, based on what I'm hearing, the Fenty concealer is worth buying. I just don't need it. So I feel like I'm going on and on about this because I'm having a hard time talking myself out of it. So let's move on to my next product. Next is another complexion product, and this is another one that I really want to try. I'm having a hard time like not going out to buy it. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Up to 24-Hour Foundation. I'm thinking about getting the color Hazelnut, and this foundation retails for $14.99. Now, I did see one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Andrea Renee, and she did a video on this. I think she did a video on the foundation and the concealer, and she really liked the foundation. And even though her skin is a little darker than mine, I find myself being able to use her as a shade reference. So whatever shade that she uses, I'm pretty much like maybe 1 or 2 shades lighter than that. So that's how I came up with Hazelnut. I haven't seen these foundations face to face in the store yet. I know that they're available at Ulta, and I think they are now available at either CVS or Walgreens, but I haven't seen them in the store yet. Based on what the foundation is supposed to do, how it's supposed to wear, it's supposed to be like a full coverage natural finish foundation. I'm wondering if that would be considered a drugstore dupe for my Too Faced concealer. Now this, or foundation rather, this is definitely not a 24-hour wear foundation. I feel like at the most I could get maybe 10 hours out of this, and I feel like that's pushing it, and that's only if I set it really well. The L'Oreal foundation is supposed to last up to 24 hours. Don't really know what that means, because like if it lasts for 5 hours on me but 20 hours on someone else, I mean both of those is still like up to 24 hours. So I feel like that claim is kind of vague, but as long as it's going to last me for 6-8 hours, that's pretty much all I need. This foundation costs $39, and the L'Oreal one costs $14.99. So if they are pretty comparable to each other, I feel like I could just replace my Too Faced with the L'Oreal and just save some money. I think that this foundation comes in 30 shades. Yeah, this foundation comes in 30 shades, and I think that they do have a pretty good mix of light, medium, dark, and deep. There really is only like one like truly like really deep shade. It's called Ebony, but then they have a few shades that are a little bit lighter than that, but they're not like completely what I would consider deep. But one thing I was surprised at was I'm so used to L'Oreal telling you like what their undertones are for their complexion products, and they didn't do that for this one. You kind of have to just look at it and kind of eyeball it. Their L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Foundation, like the original liquid foundation that everybody used to rave about. Some people do still use it, but like that foundation, I think it comes in like almost 40 shades, and it's kind of like grouped by the undertone. This one is just going, like the shades are just going from light to dark. But with it being 30 shades, I do think that there's a good chance that I will find one that will work for me. I don't know for sure if Hazelnut is it, but the shade above that looks too light based on the picture, and the one below that looks really dark. But again, I haven't seen these in person yet. But the real reason I'm interested in it is because Andrea Renee, she loved it. I did see a couple of other videos, a couple of other YouTubers that really did like it. And the price point, like I said, if it is very similar to the Too Faced foundation, then that's a winner for me. I'll just go ahead and swap the L'Oreal for the Too Faced when I run out of my Too Faced. Next up is the Milani Pure Passion eyeshadow palette. This one retails for $19.99. I think that this is exclusive to Ulta, but I'm not sure about that. Now, I feel like this, even though it is different, this one is giving me like Urban Decay Naked Cherry vibes. So I know that they're definitely different palettes, but that was the first thing that I thought of when I saw this Milani palette. I feel like they have like a whole lot of similarities. Now, I think I'm turning into kind of like an eyeshadow palette junkie. So like right now, I have a whole lot of lipsticks in my collection, right? Now, even though I have a whole lot of individual lipsticks, I don't have a whole lot of variety in my collection. So I have a whole bunch of like pinky nudes, whole bunch of like berry tone lipsticks because that's what I like. But I'm the type of person that I'll have like 5 different lipsticks, all the same color, but if they're a different formula or they're just slightly different from one to the other, to me, they're a totally different lipstick. And I feel like I'm turning into that with eyeshadow too. So like, even though I feel like this palette is very similar to Urban Decay, in a way, it's like a totally different palette, if that makes sense. So that's one of the reasons that I'm gravitating to this, because that Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette is actually one of my favorites. But also, I've seen a lot of people just rave on and on about Milani eyeshadows, and I haven't tried one yet. Like, I feel like the last maybe 3 makeup hauls that I did, I wanted to buy a Milani eyeshadow palette, but for one reason or another, I just didn't. This is the first one, though, that I'm like really, really interested in buying because I want to experience their eyeshadow. And again, this is the type of color scheme that I gravitate to. So I think Milani is like considered more of like a high-end drugstore brand, because to me, they're like one of the most expensive. I think Milani and L'Oreal are kind of like up there in price. But even still, like, this is $19.99. I think that's a bit, I don't want to say steep for the drugstore, but I think it's worth it. Let me put it like that. It's $19.99. It's in the drugstore, but I do think it's worth it based on what everyone else is saying. I have tried a few other things from Milani, their eyeshadow primer and their blushes, but never an eyeshadow palette. So I do just want to experience it, and especially this color scheme. I have 2 more palettes to go through. The next one is the NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. I think this is called the Ultimate Petite Eyeshadow Palette in Ash. Now, I love this color scheme. I do think it is a seasonal color scheme. Like, I feel like I would use this in the fall and winter, maybe not so much in the spring and summer, whereas that Milani palette, I feel like I could use it all year round. Now, I will say, to name this palette Ash, I feel like that name is like off-putting for any type of makeup. Maybe if you had like a single eyeshadow that was like a grayish, like, you know, the color of ash, I could see you using that color. But I feel like we associate the word ash with something looks ashy on your face. So I don't know why they chose that color, that name for this palette, and I don't think the name matches the color scheme. That's just me. I can't think of a name off the top of my head. But anyway, outside of that, the reason I'm thinking about buying this is because it's only $6.99, and I have a really bad habit when it comes to NYX, Wet n Wild, and e.l.f. I have a really bad habit of saying, oh, this is only $3, oh, this is only $5. But when you keep doing that over and over again, all that money adds up. So with this one, it's only $6.99. So I feel like, what the heck is $6.99? But again, I really don't need it. So this one, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I feel like I'm going to buy it, but maybe not right away. We'll see. My last eyeshadow palette is the Maybelline City Mini Palette in Diamond District. I have 2 other of these City Mini palettes and I love them. I think they're really nice and compact. I like the fact that they only give you a few colors because sometimes I get overwhelmed when I get like a really big eyeshadow palette that has like 30-40 shades in it, because I feel like I'm just sitting there forever trying to decide what shade I want to use. And I feel like with all of these mini palettes, they did a really good job of putting together a color scheme for you. I do really wish that they had included just a little mirror in these mini palettes, but that's no big deal. Again, I want to buy this because I have 2 others that I really like, but I'm also saying to myself it's only $9.99, and if I get it from one of the drugstores, they often have those sales where you can do like buy one Maybelline product, get another one 50% off, or sometimes they'll just put it on sale. But again, just like with all the other products that I'm talking about today, I really don't need this. I just really want it, especially because of those 2 dark matte shades, that green and that like burgundy color. Those colors just look really pretty to me. This is also something I would consider like more seasonal. Like, yeah, you can wear whatever color you want any time of the year, but to me this looks like a fall toned palette. So that's something that I keep telling myself to say, you know, don't buy it now, just buy it, you know, later on in the year. But I do feel like you can do things like maybe take that light pink color and that gold and, you know, make like a springtime look too. So it's versatile in its own way, but overall it does look more like a fall tone palette to me. But again, I keep telling myself it's only $10, but again, you know, $10 isn't, you know, that's a nice chunk of change if you have other things to do like put gas in your car. So this one I'm noticing right now, like as I'm talking to y'all, I'm noticing that I'm not having that much of a hard time talking myself out of it. Like I feel like I just did talk myself out of buying that, because I can really wait until like later on in the year to buy this when we get closer to fall. And those 2 shades that I'm looking at, I actually do have them in another palette that I'm thinking about. So I mean, I really don't need this. So I do feel like I kind of just scrapped that one off my list. I feel like my voice is getting scratchy, so I apologize. Okay, I have 2 lip products that I want to go over, and the first one is the Dose of Colors lip gloss in the color Jazzy. These retail for $17. I just keep hearing about Dose of Colors lip gloss like all over the place, and this is one of those kind of like YouTube is making me want to buy it type products. Everybody keeps saying that the formula is really nice. It has a lot of good reviews on Ulta's website. However, this color Jazzy looks very unique to me. It's described as a copper rose with multicolored reflex. Now again, even though it has a color to it, I'm assuming because it's a gloss, it's going to be relatively sheer. So you're not going to be able to see the product be very pigmented on the lips, but you will see some sort of colors. But even with glosses that have colors to them, I feel like a color like this, I would probably wear it more so like in the fall. I guess because it's coppery. I don't know, like you can wear it all year round, but me personally, I feel like if I had this, I would wear this a lot in the fall. So again, I can kind of wait, buy it later on in the year, but that color just looks really pretty to me, and I just want to experience a Dose of Colors gloss because I keep hearing so much about it. Now the one that I'm really having a hard time talking myself out of is the Fenty gloss in the color Fussy. It retails for $18. I talked about this in another video. I think it was my Project Pan video. I do already have this. This is the original Gloss and Gloss Bomb, and I'm trying to pan this by March 20th. So keeping that in mind, I already know if I buy Fussy, I feel like I'm gonna like Fussy better than this one because this one is more like rose gold. Fussy is more like a straight up pink one. I feel like if I bought Fussy now, I would never finish this. And I bought this when it first came out, and I just feel like it's taking me forever and 8 days to go through this. So I don't... I may buy Fussy before I end up using this, but the plan is to not let that happen because I just don't want to keep buying stuff, but I really want that Fussy lip gloss. But I feel like out of everything that I talked about today, the Fussy lip gloss, the L'Oreal foundation, and the Fenty concealer, those are the 3 products that I really want to buy. And I feel like my honorable mention would be the Milani eyeshadow palette. So we'll see how I do. I really don't want to buy any more makeup though until it's time to restock on something. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I feel like I rambled like crazy, but like I said earlier, I hope that y'all didn't find this video to be boring, but I feel like I need to keep just trying to distract myself from all of this makeup that I want to buy just because. So I hope that you did enjoy the video. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up, and also leave me some feedback in the comments down below. I would really appreciate that. If you have any suggestions on how people can like distract themselves from buying makeup just because, let me know. So again, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that I will see y'all back for my next one. Until then, my next video is going to be a tutorial on this look. This is like my rose gold, like Valentine's Day look. So that'll be the next one. So until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.